actual map, but in the process it's a bit hard to like take a picture of it and then show it to someone who wasn't actually there in person.
Yeah, it was crumbled.
Mm-hmm. Do you have anything to say, Stephen?
Yeah, I think you said it all, basically.
Yeah, maybe I'd like to add. I kind of like the compass in the lower bottom on the right. You know, it's kind of looks kind of like a Christmas accessory on the tree, but it's it's original. You know, it's kind of original. How large is it? And that's I'll give props for it. But I guess we can move on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And also a fun fact here, on the colored map, it seems like this little island on the left up bottom, corner disappeared, whilst it was, torn apart. I find it very funny. Anyway,
nice coloring.
Yeah, the next map is from Bandai Namco, and from what I'm seeing, at least, the map is kind of like, how should I put it? The density of the forests in this area, basically, is very high, right? In the middle of the map. So, like, it's kind of questionable to put a capital-like city just in the middle of the forests.
Yeah, that's right.
Just because of accessibility, firstly to the sea, because this appears to be a sea country, and also to the other cities and countries on the land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do like the detail added to in terms of the forest and the pathways through each and the mountain ranges, and then the volcano sort of off to the top left as well, because that sort of adds a bit of sort of interest to the world. The fact that there's this sort of central location where it's obvious that would be a final boss or something, some dangerous location that the players could go to once they've sort of leveled up enough. And yeah, it's cool that there's different regions and there's a compass as well, and this one has a title, which not many of the maps actually had, which is good. We like that. But yeah, aside from that, things like having a massive forest in between two mountain ranges seems a bit questionable, because typically that'd be a valley in between there where there wouldn't really be much vegetation, forestation and stuff. But that's not really fair to critique you on that, because that's sort of just semantic sort of stuff there. But we like the placement of things where everything was the capital city and stuff, how it's in between forests and stuff, sort of adds a bit of element of mystery, I guess. And it's it's an island of magic as well, so you'd sort of expect that to be a bit of a mysterious place to visit and hard to get to and all of that, which is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that I would add to this map is a bit of more, I would say, content, or at least some things that the players would want to visit in the up corner. With the desert and stuff, maybe put a little oasis or something over there. So your players would want to, adventure there as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think right now it's more adventure for some kind of political campaign or political intrigue, where you have human factions, but there is nothing going on except the volcano and the top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I guess we can move on.
Yeah. Should I go to the next one?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Oh, who did this?
It was done by Wolf.
Mm-hmm. This one we really like, because this one, in terms of aesthetic, is definitely unique in comparison to most of the entries, because I think most of the entries used Incarnate to build their maps, or Wonder Draft. And so I'm not quite sure how they made this one, but it's really cool. And in terms of how D&D plays, it would obviously work really well because of the hex grid. So you could have individual player tokens on each grid and then sort of explore the map.
Yeah.
And yeah, the lore behind this map was the fact that it's sort of an undiscovered continent, and it's sort of for the players to you know, create landmarks and sort of establish there. That's why we were told there aren't any landmarks. But if you zoom in on it, there's a lot of attention to detail and how the map's laid out, which is really appreciated. And even though it's like sort of a bit simplistic in sort of nature, it is quite detailed and it looks really nice.
Yeah,
and just like
it looks kind of like the frames we'll have in you know in Fireball, but definitely we'll have better one, right? But I hope. But no, it's pretty similar. I like the coloring. It's very, you know, saturated, but nice.
Mhm.
It's very cheerful map from the
Yeah.
coloring style.
Mm. Yeah, and these, you know, little icebergs in the sea. That's pretty cool too, I think.
This one.
Yeah.
Alright.
Or okay. So what's the next author of our challenge?
Yeah.
Oh, so this is Incarnata, right?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, who is this one by?
Ilyn Death.
Ilyn Death, yeah.
Ilyn Death. Sorry, let me introduce. Ilyn Death is our server booster, so thank you for your dollars, Ilyn.
Yeah, in comparison to the ones that we've seen so far, this one has like a lot of central locations, and it actually has names on its locations. So like places like Miltos, Scorched Land, Internal Quagmire, and it's got a lot of it's got a lot of detail as well. But the map does feel a bit like sort of a bit generic in terms of its shape, because it just sort of looks a bit like a square, and there isn't really much I don't think there's much sort of creative liberty that's been taken with the actual shape of it and stuff like that, which it doesn't detract from the actual map itself, but I feel like there's more creative ways you could have structured the map. But that's just personal preference for me, honestly.
Yeah. Also from the look of the map, I would think as a player that most of the fun plot hooks would be happening in the Infernal Quagmire and around that area, just because of how many landmarks there are in the area, the ruins of Lena and stuff. Just the density of, named locations and points of interest should be, at least I think, the same as at most of the map the same. So that's one thing that I didn't like about the map, just the thing about the whole left bottom area being very dense, whilst the
it's like it's like a high area for high level characters, right? So you are kind of going around the center, the top, and just expanding, and then you go to the ruins of Lionar and just put down the BBEG. Yeah. What I also it's like when you look at the trees in the top left, man, well, it's these trees there, they are just so huge, and when you go to the bottom, then these trees are kind of like super small, and I'm just wondering, are they like the same size, or are we at the same size, or are there like huge trees?
Yeah, I feel like that sort of stuff can't really, I don't know, because just to in terms of scaling and stuff, it'd be a bit hard to have the trees noticeable if they were properly scaled. I think that sort of just indicates that there might be a lot of trees in that one particular area. I think some of it can't be taken too literally, just because if that was the case, then there'd only be a couple dozen trees in that area, which doesn't seem right.
Yeah, but overall it's fine, pretty nice. Okay, so do you want to continue, guys?
Nothing more.
All right. The next one is from Nebula. Oh, our number one leaderboard, Lord Nebula.
Yeah, it's currently overtaken me.
What
Yeah, so
nebula? That's a good question.
this one we thought had a really cool design in terms of like the forest and the paths in between it, and the, the different colorings as well, and like the beach at the top as well. And so the island itself looks really nice and it has a lot of potential. But again, it doesn't really have any points of interest. It's sort of like a bit of a blank template, I guess. And there is that like island off to the right that has a stronghold by the looks of it. But aside from that, there isn't really much that's sort of done with the space. And it sort of just looks, even though the design is really nice, it just looks a bit empty, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, but what is really interesting is usually in the north you have like snowy mountains, icebergs, but now there is a beach which is unusual, I guess, and that's pretty interesting. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think some large tower would definitely fit in the center of the forest there, in the circle. That would be pretty interesting point of uh, for
Interesting.
players to explore.
Yeah. Also,
The one with the username called Lord Nebula. That's the nebula we're talking about right now.
Yeah, the Lord Nebula, right? The like the OG original Nebula.
also,
Yeah, one more suggestion maybe. I would use this map for if I was a DM. This was my map for my players. I would print out this map and just give it to them and let them discover the map. And then maybe I would give them a pencil, and they would be able to, just discover something there. Draw things there. Just an idea.
yeah, fun. Also, one more quick tip: when you're naming something, just make the name stand out a little bit more, since with the color of the sea and the color of the font, it's very hard to
Yeah, right.
read it.
Yeah, I didn't even notice these titles actually.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like all in all, it is a really cool design, and I feel like it does have a lot of potential. But yeah, just not really any points of interest.
Yeah, it's like 40% down, I guess. Or hey, Nebula, you are watching. Are you planning just to update this map? Is this a work in progress, uh, or like what plan do you have with it? Feel free to use chat when you can. In the meanwhile, I guess we can move on.
All right. The next one is from Nitro Ninja.
Wow, this one is
Yeah,
cool.
this one is big.
Yeah, it's big.
So yeah, the first thing I thought of when I saw this map was Avatar: The Last Airbender. If anyone's watched that, because it's sort of got like the similar color pattern in terms of like the icy bit for the Water Tribe, the green for the Earth Kingdom, the sort of pale yellow for the Air Nomads, and then the red Fire Nation. And so, yeah, right off the bat, it sort of like has this great sense of like world building, I guess, in terms of like how everything's divided by its sort of color. And yeah, its size really helps it like get a lot of information across in terms of like the different regions. It also has a map, a key, and not a key, sorry, a scale right at the bottom left, and like a compass, and it has titles for all of its like central locations.
Yeah, and a border.
And the border as well. It looks exactly like I'd expect a map to look like. The only issue we have with this is that there are some bits that just were left a bit empty. In terms of like how it's used, like there's just like some spots where there's just sort of nothing going on, and as a player, you sort of in order to get to one location, you sort of have to just walk through a lot of empty bits. Cool. So yeah, the person who made it said it was work in progress, and is a maze island.
Maze Island.
Wait, is that I can't remember, is that Nebula or
Yeah,
This is Nitro Ninja
Lamont
180.
is Nebula, right?
Mhm. But is that Nebula or I don't know who's saying that, but cool.
Yeah. Lord
Yeah,
Nebula.
it was pretty. It was pretty unique in its size. Just like it is quite ambitious, but yeah, there's some bits that are just left a bit empty, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. What I do really like is the central water area called Hollow Waters, because you don't see that often. There are lakes, there are seas, but something like, oh, Hollow Waters. Sorry, I thought it's like shallow waters, it's like you would be able to cross it with the water to your knees, but I guess that's not what was meant. So don't mind me. All right.
Cool.
Yeah. Just I would say that the best thing about this map is the diversity that you
Yeah.
could tell your
Very
players.
inclusive, diverse map.
All right. Should we go to the next one?
Yep. Cool. Yes, this was by, I think it's Old Man Modius, I think is his name in the Discord now.
Wow, this one is pretty original.
But yeah, this one again, sort of like taking it back to Nitro Ninja. It's got like a really unique aesthetic, and I think it was made fully in Photoshop. And it's got a key. It has the title of the map. It's got all these like central locations with names, and with the key as well, you know exactly where everything is. Do you want to zoom in a bit?
Yeah. Is it possible to zoom in?
Yeah.
Nice.
Sorry, it's a bit wanky.
There we go. Yeah, and so you sort of like have all these locations, and you know exactly what they are. And as a DM, that would be really sort of helpful to figure out what's going on, where your players are, maybe like where to lead them away from. Its design was really minimalistic as well, which we thought was a bit of like a good and a bad thing. Like, in terms of how it looks really sleek and like really cool, and like it looks nice. But if I were to if in terms of like what kind of map I'd want to put out in front of my players, I feel like I'd want something with a bit more detail, and I feel like I'd want something that feels a bit more alive, I guess. But yeah, it doesn't detract away from the fact that it is probably in terms of its design, like the sleekest looking one.
Yeah, I guess it looks almost professional in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's probably is.
Also, the names of the places are like how they are,
yeah,
how are they all connected to like a body of a giant or a titan. Sorry, the titan, the spine aisles and stuff. It's really like a good design choice, I would say.
Yeah, what maybe I find a little bit, what might be better is, for example, in the top left there is a tip of the world, and because you have this legend to the map, you can't really imagine what it's like. And personally, I'd be super interested. How does it look like? Is a big tower, or is it's a huge mountain? I don't know. So again, it might be better for theater of mind. So there is more imagination for the players. But if I have the map out of context, it's like there's a lot of question marks for me.
Definitely.
Okay, I guess we can move.
So this one was by Ransom.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Ransom.
And yeah, so
hey.
The grid itself again sort of plays into the fact that it would make it a bit easier for a D&D game, because again you can have like player tokens on specific grids, which always helps sort of organize where everything is. Yeah, we think there's some good points of interest. Again, we think there are sort of like areas where there's like nothing really going on. Like there's a lot of like spots like lowland plains and like in between cities where there's just like sort of a big sort of empty gaps. And again, it's sort of hard to tell how big that would be without sort of scale, I guess. But yeah, like there are the points of interest are quite good because it sort of feels a bit like a bit linear, I guess, in terms of like the places you'd visit. Like the Orcish Barricade would probably be like the final boss, and places like Dread Swamp adds sort of a bit of intrigue. And like, if I was playing on this map, I'd probably want to go to Dread Swamp first and get my ass absolutely handed to me by like some level 20 boss or something. But like, yeah, names like the usage of names was really good. And the fact that it sort of it does add to that element of sort of excitement as a player, I guess, of like where you'd want to go to, and that sort of thing, I guess.
Just the name itself creates a plot hook, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
What I also like is, when you look at the names, it makes also sense, like and from the standpoint of how a civilization works, because you have a Westport, you have Southport, you have capital in the middle, a great temple which is some kind of religious place, the outpost when right before mountains, and Orcish barricade under that, so it's like protecting the civilization from enemies. Uh, so that kind of makes me feel like this is a working society which really exists and has some has some sense to it.
Also with the names, I like how he kept to a single civilization, like a single theme. So basically, in the middle there's like I would think human cities, with going like the capital, Westport, normal stuff. In the top left there's like Glen Dop with the double letters on the end. So that's like a thing of the region, I guess. And then Talmia Kafan on the right side of the map. Sorry, I butchered it. With like how it feels basically is that every single like part of it is a different culture, at least, or a different race or something. That's what I liked about this game, about this map.
Yeah. And if you have the map of the dog, like uh, the location map, feel free to put it our entries channel, just for fun, because we are curious. And yeah, great work overall.
Yeah. On to the next one, which was by Renoba Togi.
Oh, we're on top.
This one we thought had a really cool design in terms of like its the actual like design of the continent. And again, it sort of feels like it does feel quite small, but at the same time, it sort of like adds into that short but sweet sort of campaign. Like not everything has to be this huge sort of adventure in order to be fun. And so it's got like these sort of key locations that sort of seem quite close to each other that you got to get to really quickly. And it just has all these little locations that I feel like would be really fun to explore, like the middle left, the middle right, all that sort of places. And and obviously it's quite small, but I feel like that's sort of its main strength. The fact that you can just sort of get to every place. There isn't this element of having to walk a huge distance to get everywhere. Everything sort of has a spot, I guess. Like all the trees and the mountains sort of just fit nicely with each other, and they don't feel oversaturated or underused. And so everything sort of just feels like it's everything sort of feels like it's in moderation to a good degree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe I'd like to highlight when you look at the center of the continent, there is this lake, and there is this bridge over the lake, and the trees at the riverside. It's kind of pretty nice, and the towers, blended to the mountains. That's super cool. And then I also like the water park in the west. That looks pretty fun. I I can't imagine what kind of campaign could be done there, but it might be real fun. And yeah, overall it's super nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The next one was by Skyfest.
Holy
And
Yeah.
the biggest problem that we had with this map, to start with the cons and pros, is the overpopulation.
You gotta if you want to zoom in on some spots.
Yeah.
Sorry, the guys, just who is the author? Like the nickname?
Skyphus.
Citus. Oh, nice, cool.
Yeah. Basically, just the amount of settlements is kind of unsettling. Haha.
Yeah, like it's designed nicely and it has got a lot of like central locations as well, which are cool. And like Isle of the Forgotten sort of adds to again sort of like the world building. But yeah, there's just in certain like in like most of the locations, it just feels like there's way too much going on, and I feel like that would be very confusing for a player. Sort of like having maybe just visited one sort of town, and there's 10 towns in like close to them. Which one do they go to? And it's sort of just like I feel like there's way too many options to sort of choose from. Like it makes for a very like sort of confusing game, I guess.
Yeah, I think it might be even, it might be clear, but the like amount of trees there, that's just, huge forestation for the country, which is good for the country, obviously very healthy, but from the view standpoint of orientation on the map, not that good. But the Skytus just said he perceived it more like a Tamriel from Elder Scrolls, so it's more like a continent. So yeah, there's would be a lot of things.
Well, we were going without the scale on this one, so that's what we just follow.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like with maps like these, it's like really critical to have a scale. Otherwise, the distance between these things could be 10 kilometers, it could be 1 kilometer.
Yeah.
And
sorry for jumping into where if Skyphus is here. Could you perhaps explain the middle of the map, the Isle of the Forgotten? Because there's like a stumps of trees, going out of the sea, and I'm kind of intrigued about what does it mean.
Yeah.
We should, next time we do a challenge, we should get the authors of the maps or creative pieces to join the call as well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I do think so too.
Mm-hmm. What is maybe interesting for this map is, and what previous maps didn't have are the ships there, on the like. What do you guys think about using these kind of elements on a map when there really is not a ship because it's a dynamic moving object, but it's on the map anyway? It's a good decoration, or is it confusing? Like, what's your opinion on this?
I think it makes it more lively, I would say. With these.
Sorry, what was the question?
He was talking about the ships, if they are a good decoration or not.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like it adds to the detail of it. It's just more sort of world building. Just this map I feel like could use with a little less detail, but the ships do add to it like a nice touch of detail as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure, guys, if you've seen this, but in the chat, guys are telling us it's for showing where ports are and where are the shipping roads, like trade roads.
Yeah.
Okay, but nice work. Oh, another big one. Who is the author?
Terrific is the author.
Terrific.
This one again. We thought that like things like a bit of overpopulation was an issue in terms of like trees, especially right next to the coastline because there's like you expect a beach to be there and not have many trees so much. But this one had some really nice sort of like design elements, I guess, in the way that everything's placed, like the mountains, the settlements. It doesn't feel like there's an overbearing amount, like an overwhelming amount of options to choose from. It's sort of just the players sort of have these few choices, and then they can just go to in a very linear pattern.
Yeah, it would be like what we are going to do. Okay, let's go through the forest. Okay, which direction? Forest is everywhere. It's like But
Maybe
sorry.
one thing that I would, talk badly about is this region um, with just how the town is like low. Oh, those are. Oh, sorry. I didn't know what those are. I just figured they are, like houses and stuff. Sorry. Yeah. Also, the Nessie just hanging over the lake on the bottom right is a pretty neat element.
Mm-hmm. Although the river does look pretty funky.
Yeah.
Like, got some weird edges, but I think that's just got to do with the map editor, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but do you know, guys, what kind of map editor is this? Because it doesn't look like Incarnate, but it looks.
This is Incarnate.
Is it?
But,
Cool.
yeah, Incarnate you can do some pretty weird stuff in terms of like scaling and perspective. Like this, yeah, I'll see if I can find an image, but like, yeah, Incarnate's pretty like cool in the way that you can sort of change stuff. Let me find if I can grab the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I love the sea serpent too. Actually, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this was the last map.
Okay, so we
should perhaps announce the winners.
We most definitely should. So, what do you guys would say if we would go like one of us said third, the other one second, and the other one the first, the ultimate winner?
Yeah. Alright, sure.
So are we getting suggestions as to who we think won?
I don't know. Let's see.
Okay, so let's do it. Let's announce a third place, which gets what role the third place got? Actually,
Cultist.
Cultist.
But yeah, if they already have Cultist, I feel as if they'd get bumped up by one. But again, it depends. It depends on what their rank is already. Because I feel like if they're already a very high rank, you probably won't bump them up to the next one. But we'll organize something else.
Okay. Well,
like we might make a role for contestant winners and stuff.
Yeah, totally. Well, so just let's say the third place is Asmodeus. Congratulations.
Old man Modius. Yeah. So we thought this one definitely deserved a spot in the top three, just with like how unique it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's part of the reason why we picked it, and just like how nice it looks and how it has a cool design and all that. Yeah. So good job.
Good job. Okay. Time to announce the second place. And Tommy, do you want to do the honor?
Alright. Second place was Duskwolf, the one with the very cool looking hex grid pattern. Yeah. This one we just loved because of like how colourful it is, and just in terms of like how it's designed, and just the detail of all of its tiles just looked really, really pretty. And it does lack a lot of points of interest, but I feel like that's sort of the point, the fact that it's an undiscovered continent.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he said that it was like an exploration campaign, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who will announce number one?
Do you want to do it, Dan?
Yeah, surely. So, drum roll.
Okay.
The winner of the whole competition is Nitro Ninja 180.
Whoa, congratulations! You got early access to the Fireball RPG during the summer.
Yeah. And we went for this map just because it felt like a map. Like most of the all we felt with the border, the name, the compass scale.
Yeah.
And also the large amount of content.
Like, yeah. To win this, you didn't really need to have a massive map, but like this one just, it's out of all the ones, it looks the most like a map. Like, it just looks really, really, really really good and like what you'd expect a map to look like. And if I had this on like the table in front of like players and stuff, it's exactly what I'd sort of go for. So good job. Don't know how long it took you to make, but it looks like it would have taken a long time.
Yeah, it's definitely super impressive. So this is the one, right?
Yeah, this is the first one.
Yeah, it's definitely deserved. Okay, guys, so that was our Cartographer's mission. Again, thank you very much, Tommy, for organizing it, for bringing up even the idea of entries and these contests. It's just amazing work. Thank you to Dan, both of you, for reviewing the map, putting up the time there. It's amazing work.
Cool.
Yeah.
I guess that wraps it up for the most part.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, guys. So I guess we are just gonna keep working on the Kickstarter. Justin Hill just wants to join. Hi, Justin. So it ended just now. We end the competition. I'm sorry, but that's fine. Okay. Hey guys, have a nice day. It was amazing. See you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you next time.
See you.